All right. It's been way too long. It's been a long time. Last time you probably seen my face, our faces was 2 years ago when movies were popping and people were going to the movie theaters. Now COVID hit 2020 and movie theaters has been shut down and we haven't been in the movies and comic book movies haven't been a thing for the last year. But guess what? It's 2021 and we rolling right into it. So this is a weird introduction or reintroduction to who we are, but this is That Comic Show. I am Corey Sams. I'm so happy to be back here with you guys. I have two great guests, distinguished guests on here tonight. I got my man, Color is Everything, and I got my man, I Am Legend, and we are here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about shows and comic books. All right. Yes, we are comic book fans. Yes, you're not going crazy. We're not going to talk about politics or money matters. That could be the state for another day. We're talking about just comic book stuff and what it is and why it's so awesome. So let's just dive right in. All right. I don't want to waste too much time rambling and stuff like that. So let's dive right in.
Nice.
2020. Did you slow down with your comic book? Did you experience comic book fatigue in 2020? That's the first question.
Fatigue from what?
Look,
I don't understand the question, sir.
Nah. I know exactly what it was, and the reason I know that is because when I finished how I felt after the first episode of WandaVision, like I just stared at the credits, like I just stared, just looked.
Yes.
Like I was just like, it's kind of like what I imagine a good junkie feels like. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you're not even trying to recover. No. You need the fix. So, it felt good. 2020 was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, definitely. Just that opening crawl of the Marvel Studios picture was
Get you right here.
Nice little tear. A little bit right here too.
So 2020. If I'm not mistaken, the only comic book movie that came out.
Well,
there was two, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Wonder Woman.
the New Mutants and Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah. Ooh,
that is correct.
Those are the only two that came out. So, I know Marvel. The last movie that Marvel had was Spider-Man, and at that point, I was ready for a nice little break. Marvel gives us a nice little stretch before the next year rolls around, and then we start to get excited. But there was so much going on in the world, and Marvel was like, "Hey, we're going to pull some of our stuff," and then the Disney Plus stuff wasn't dropping until this year. So I started to get like, "All right, I need something to do." I was going crazy a little bit, like
Yeah, because
start shaking.
What was the first movie that was canceled? I think it was Scarlet Witch, right?
Nah. You mean Black Widow?
Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Black Widow was the first movie that was canceled or pushed back. We still don't know when it's going to come. It's supposed to come in June, May?
Nah, May.
June?
May.
Sticking to the date?
If they're sticking to the date, it's May, and they're definitely trying to push. A theater release, so they're holding real hard to that.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Like actually going to the theaters?
Look, at this point, like first of all, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Color is Everything is an educator, so I definitely did get that vaccine, and I want to say it was for my family, but also so that I can go see movies again. just gonna be honest about the reason.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be safe. I'm gonna be safe there.
Nah,
I don't know, man. I think it'll be like mask is every day now. Let's keep it honest. Like we are like the animes or comics that we watch in other countries. Like mask everything.
Yeah.
What it is.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm not 100% comfortable yet going back into the movie theaters. When I realized that like there's a Regals and an AMC literally 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from me, and Regals is shut down. So I wasn't really going to Regals, but I saw AMC was looking like they were shutting down too. So I was getting ready to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna invest on that projector. Get a nice little wall in my house, set it up, and I'll watch my movies at home. As long as I can see it on the big screen like that, I'm good. I don't need to go to the movie theater.
So wait, does that mean you willing to wait? Like, are you willing to do like a digital release type thing? Like, you're no longer going to be an all nighter. You know what I'm saying? 12 a.m. showing. Like, what happens to that?
And that's my dilemma, right? That's my dilemma because I love going to the movies at like, well, now they started doing like 6 p.m.
Yeah, thank you for us old folk because I don't know if I could do a 12 a.m. trying to hit work again. I don't know
Last
if I
time I tried to do that, yo, I was struggling. Oh man, it was a good movie too. I think it was.
They used to stay outside the movie theater talking for another hour.
Yeah, like we can't do that stuff no more. You know, and, I don't know, man. You know, for Black Widow, I would do it. However, let's jump into Black Widow real quick.
Okay.
I'm not excited. Ooh. And the reason why is because I wanted this movie 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
all right, understand it.
Like, if they're telling a story what happened between the blip, and this is what went down between the blip, okay. But I've seen what happened because of the blip. She's gone. Spoiler alert for those who didn't watch it. If you didn't watch it, I don't know why you're watching this. Good spoiler alert. You know, she's gone.
Good point.
Right? And it's like, all right, well, I know the end of her story, and her character didn't seem different from in between the blip and Endgame. So
well, it did. Her character changed. She was more of like during Endgame when they came back, whatever. She was more like, hey, I miss my family. I need my family. And you could tell that she was needed. Like she overworked herself. So, and it's from where she started out back in Iron Man 2, I believe. It's a big change.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with Legend.
Now she's about more of the family. So yeah.
I'm with Legend. I'm gonna say I'm with Legend with the idea. I noticed the change, right? I think it was beginning of Endgame. No, Endgame with everything. So in Infinity Wars, you're right. That panel, you know, even Rocket has to look at her and like, look, you might need to like take some U time, okay? That being said, right? Because I see the arc. There's also I'm kind of with you, Sam's. Like, I kind of needed this a little before, you know what I mean? Because I think, and I'm gonna be that guy to say, I think her story might be ended. And I think believing that this could be all my, if words, if this is or could be the end, then yeah, we needed this story a long time ago. But the question is her story really over?
Nah, it's over.
Her story's over. It's done?
Are you saying that because you're just not a fan of the Black Widow, or because of you think it's just final?
So I hope what Marvel do is with Death is like how they did with Pedro, when we're going to talk about later with WandaVision, is not bring back people that died. With Vision, you kind of understand it because he's a machine, so you got to understand that. But with other characters, when they die, then to me personally, they should stay dead.
Except for the fact that we did see a type of Pietro. And what if, right? What if Marvel was just laying the groundwork to get us into the truly extraordinary? Like literally getting people to buy into this idea of the comic book world, because we're about to go, think about Doctor Strange, one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite characters. Yeah. Like it introduced some next level type stuff, right? We watched Doctor Strange die repeatedly at the end of the movie.
That's true.
But, it's explained.
Wong died too.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm talking about where, like, how they did it with what's his name, Agent Coulson, like how they cheated that kind of a little bit.
Okay,
they killed them, but then they brought it back for their own show. It's kind of like, nah, I don't want to do the cheap way out. Just if you kill somebody, hey, stick with it.
But it's comics, man. Like this is what we do. Like how many times have Wolverine died for being a guy who can live forever?
Yeah, in the comics, but we're in the MCU now, so we're trying to, trying to see something different. That's all.
Ooh,
we don't want to keep on doing the same old
cold-blooded
stories and things like that. We want new stories. We want to see the characters beginning and their ending. That's something that we was never able to see with comics. Which is one of the things I really don't like with comics.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So we had this whole X-Men timeline, whatever. everybody dies in the comics, but then everybody comes back. So now we got whole different stories. It's like, okay.
That's a good point. There's no opportunity for new story and new birth when you continue to bring out the same character. So I can see to that point. I just think the way she died and where she died is leaves me feeling like they're leaving room for a what if.
Yeah,
you think so?
Because her death is connected to the Soul Stone,
mm-hmm.
and look at Gamora.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so her death and she's back. Granted, not the same Gamora, but it's the character of Gamora. You know, I'm on the fence with both of you guys because I feel both of your arguments. So like my man Colors Everything is saying like, yeah, this is comic books. This is what comic book does. Like characters, they're here, they're dead, and they come back, and it's a cycle. It's a continuous cycle. At the same time, like Legend, you saying, well, if you're dead, you're dead. Stand on your square. Stand on your square. Don't jump around. So I get both of those points. Just that when you think about the background to her story to Black Widow. And why Marvel waited so long to pull the trigger in doing this movie, and this movie has been in the talks for years and years and years. And when you think of like, the big wigs that didn't want a movie like this out because they didn't think it was going to be profitable and stuff, it gets you upset because like Marvel had to do all this to get to that.
You think it's because of that, or maybe just she didn't have a good storyline?
No,
during like the Phase 2 area.
Honestly. For me, during Age of Ultron, when Wanda started to show a glimpse of her past, and she had the assassin school, the ballerina school, the Russian, I have read in my ledger, like all these different things for her from the very beginning had me intrigued about her story. Because, all right, what do you mean you got read in your ledger? What, like, all right, your dad is Ivan. What is all that about? It's like there's so many different things. They kept leaving these little trails for me to eat at, and then it's like, all right, well, when am I gonna get to this meal? When is this stage gonna fall on me, and I got no choice but to watch it? And now it's here at the end of everything when her story arc is technically done. It bothers me. It's like, man, that's not right. I'm gonna watch it too because Taskmaster is in it, so I got to see how they're gonna bring him to life. But still, it's like, yo, too little, too late for me, man.
Sam's, I'll be honest with you. I actually think her story could have been launched. So Legend, you brought up a point. Do we really think that it's about the money and profit? I actually think that there is a little bit to not being confident in Black Widow as a female hero.
Okay.
I'm feeling the industry. To your point, some other things. I feel like the industry is predominantly male led. That we'll hold that. That's another thing. I think her story could have kicked off in Iron Man 2. She was introduced in 2, right?
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, yeah.
Where'd she come from? I think if you're going to bring the spy and talk about she's from S.H.I.E.L.D., I think that was the prime time to not give us a story. And I think at that time, we didn't have shows, but I actually think Black Widow is better as a show and not a movie.
I was thinking about that when Corey was talking. Like, if we had a Black Widow show, even just doing her past, I think that would work.
I would rock with it because she's supposed to be this dope spy, right? Like, who's got this crazy story? I mean, that's at least 3 seasons of good content. If I'm keeping it a buck, so that's why I do fall on the fence between Legend and Sam's. Like, keep her dead, but also like she's got such story. This is the Black Widow, right? She's skilled enough to be an Avenger, right, with no powers.
I do feel like when she did die, both of you guys kind of said it, but it's kind of like we was missing a little bit of something. It's like, yeah, she was a good character, but it's like, damn, I just wanted a little bit more from her. Like, find out a little bit more about her and stuff like that. So that would have been dope.
But full confession to kind of switch, if it's all right with you, Sam's, is but some of the other female characters that they've given us, I can't say that I'm gonna miss her too much. Just gonna be honest.
That's true. That's true.
That's how we started with Black Widow rather than WandaVision, by the way. But
I want to save WandaVision a little bit towards the middle of this. I want to talk on just the movies right now. But I do want to touch on WandaVision. We're going to have time for WandaVision. We got to have time for WandaVision because, man, oh man, we got to talk about that. But
okay, so if we talking about movies, you talking about movies from last year. What y'all think about Wonder Woman?
So all right. So here's the thing, right? HBO Max. I've been on the fence with HBO Max. Do I really need it? I have Disney Plus. I'm more of a Marvel fan when it comes to movies and shows because Marvel resonates more with me. I grew up with Marvel. DC, as of late, because of Zack Snyder's vision, has tainted DC for me for a lot of years. So until they get out of that shadow, I'm not excited for anything DC.
Okay, all right. Sorry I brought it up.
Is that your way of saying you didn't watch it?
But here's the thing. So I did not watch Wonder Woman. And the reason why I didn't watch Wonder Woman is because I'm a story-driven guy, right? You tell me a story, I'm gonna stick to that story until you tell me anything otherwise. The fact that Wonder Woman told me during the movie that after her first movie, she left mankind for 100 years, she didn't get involved, and then she came back and everything like that because of Doomsday and all that mess. Okay, so the 100 years you were gone. Fine. I don't want to see you on Earth then. You told me that I don't want to see you on Earth. So now 1984 is back, and then you have all these powers and all these extra things with you that you didn't have in Justice League or in BVS. So to me, it's just like it's like you guys are not even sticking inside of the barriers that you created. And maybe it is my fault because I didn't watch it, so I don't have that much more information on it. But I'm sure my man I never watched it, and I'm sure he enjoyed every minute of it. He can school me through
it.
Yeah, am I the only one that watched it? Okay, just checking.
I did watch it. It was very gimmicky, like you were saying, adding new powers out of nowhere. There was some good acting in it. I give him that. The movie looked like it was actually made in the 80s, kind of with all the tropes they introduced, and even the beginning scene with the bank robbery, the jewel heist, whatever.
No, the mall scene.
The mall scene, yeah, correct. Okay. That was very Superman 1 to me. Like that's what it felt like. The villain wasn't that well drawn out. Pascal did a good job in it, but other than that, Cheetah, it was a waste of time. I don't.
Okay.
My bad. Unless
I'm gonna hold my ground.
You see something I didn't see. I don't know.
I'm gonna hold my ground.
What you got?
Yeah, I actually disagree. Right?
Really?
So I disagree with the villain.
You enjoyed the film.
Your assessment. Hold on. Let's not jump. Let's jump to words here.
One thing at a time.
I want to acknowledge what Sam said, and I do think DC's issue is consistently moving and switching and twisting their own boundaries, but that's what they do in their comic books anyway. So let's keep it honest. But to your point, I actually liked the villains because of what I think is a simple complexity, right? I think Pascal's villain proved what it's like to be an underdog, like character-wise. I think the character itself, if you give somebody who's been consistently pressed down the opportunity to do X, Y, Z, they're not all going to want to save the world, right? They're not all going to want to be altruistic, or they're not all trying to take over the world either. And I think that's what I liked in this. Like he gradually grew to that space. It was more about an immediate need, and then that need show an opportunity, and then that opportunity grew, and he's like, we don't need to be limited by this. And I think that's ambition turned dark and evil. So I actually kind of like the twist on that. And then Cheetah, maybe I've been I don't say this apologetically. I think maybe I've been diving too deeply into the patriarchal movement. I think also her character makes it. It's a flaw, right? I think they just simply highlighted character flaws. What happens again if you're ignored? What happens again if you're now? Granted, the fact that all she had to do was walk confidently, wear some heels, but if no one told her, right?
It didn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, it didn't make sense. With the Cheetah character, it didn't make sense. I didn't understand why she even chose Cheetah for her wish to become an apex predator. Is what she said in the movie. It's like you turn into a cheetah. That's the apex predator. Granted,
that was hella flawed because you didn't choose a T-Rex, you didn't choose a raptor, you chose a cheetah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like But what you said about Pascal, diving into darkness, you felt it. All he wanted to do was be with his son, make sure his son was good, is going to have a good life, and you seen that it's kind of like he was on not like on some medication or something. He kept on diving deeper and deeper as the movie went. So I like that aspect of the movie, but everything else was like,
you're right.
Like, we didn't see no growth from Wonder Woman herself. It was like she didn't change from the first film, and we will see a change from this film to the Justice League film. Well,
here's my other point. Here's my other point that I think I did see from this to BVS that got me, and maybe because I'm a year into marriage, so I'm still a little fresh in my love stage. I think what we don't explore a lot is the sacrifice for heroes. Mm-hmm. Like you typically only see that played out in Batman. Batman's one of the few characters, and Wolverine, where you see the idea of sacrifice for family.
Yeah.
But I think in her movie, she did show that because honestly, if I just got the person that I hella loved back, right, and that's what I hold on to. Spoiler alert if you didn't watch the movie. Honestly, at this point, you ain't missed much. I think I could see her struggle, right? And I think that's the only thing. That's the only time, the only scene where I was like, she got me. This idea of like having to decide to save the freaking world that ain't gonna thank you, just not gonna care, or give up her love. But that's the only points I defend.
Well, what did you rate the movie?
Out of 5, out of 10?
Yeah, give you a little more space.
It can make a strong 6-ish.
6-ish.
Okay. I'm about the same, like 5.5. 5.5.
Yeah, I give it a 6-ish. Yeah.
It's not something I'll go back to though. I have to go back to. So
it may be I'm cleaning the house in the background on like cable TV type thing, like
yeah. Saturday morning, afternoon, something like that. Definitely.
You know, you guys raise a real good point. When you just to jump back real quick to Black Widow, you said her. All right, you guys hearing that? Is that me? Am I typing? I thought it was. All right. Pretty good. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna just go. So when I think about how you guys said that Black Widow would be better as a kind of like a show, like WandaVision, I would love to see that. Now with Wonder Woman, I feel like if it was a show to where you can kind of flush out this particular story, because just looking at the story alone is busy. It's a lot of moving pieces going on. There's the Wishing Rock or something like that. There's a lot of story going on, and I'm just like, maybe this could have been something that you put on. Something that you put on. Come again?
Yeah.
No, I say none.
Okay. All right.
It's good.
All right, we're good. Yeah, we're good. All right, cool. So and I think and I can't really say too much on this topic because I haven't seen the movie, right? But I've watched reviews. I've heard people who are hardcore DC fans, people who are not DC fans, and what they're taking. Their take are pretty much the same what you guys said. There's parts of it that was it was good, but then there was other parts that were just like didn't really work, right? And I just think that right now DC has a chance to really revitalize themselves as far as where they're taking their product.
You believe that?
What was that?
You believe they have a chance to revitalize?
So hear me out.
Where?
Hear me out. So last year, so we're still on 2020 right now. Last year, I believe it was towards the end, in the beginning of the year, it was towards the end of the CW, Flashpoint Paradox.
We not talking about CW now.
So, hear me out. I'm not saying that, just hear me out. Where they took that story and where they could possibly lead things. If DC wants to get out of the shadow of Zack Snyder, right, and start to go back to what they were doing before, telling individual stories, and then somewhere down the road you do a team up again, I feel as though that can help them in the long run. If they do it to connect to the TV universe, because the TV universe is miles ahead of what the movie universe can do. Is that a fair point, or am I fair point, or am I wrong?
So real quick, in the whole DC direction thing, they announced 3 Batman movies. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. I don't even think I need an argument after that. I mean,
but
it's like 2 separate Batmans now. Come on, man.
It's real talk. It's confusing. It's very confusing. There's no doubt about that.
To say the least.
The only way that it makes sense is if they stick to what they started with the CW. The CW made it possible that there are different Earths. Flash made that possible, and I'm a big fan of Flash. I like the TV shows. I mean, the first maybe 3 seasons.
Thank you. Maybe.
I don't know. It got kind of muddled. But I like Flash. It is in the concept of Flash that he's a multi-universal type of character, that he exists in different Earths, different power. Well, same power, but different people or whatever. I like that concept. If DC decides to stick with that concept and let that drive their movie, I feel like they can erase everything that Zack Snyder did and start from scratch. I feel like they could do that. They've done it countless times before.
So I'm definitely gonna have to be a legend kind of guy, because like I don't see it. I don't see them doing it, right? And let me start off with the CW. You don't got me. I'm gonna try to keep this rant small. Okay, small. Here's my biggest issue with the CW. How can you be a superhero with a secret identity if half the town knows? Let's just talk about that. Just that simple. Somebody needs to explain that simple fact to me. Just a very simple fact. Because each one of these heroes then invite like at least the entire family plus half their office, right? And at least one of the Uber drivers into their home bases.
Yeah.
That, and they also now suffer from what Legend said that Marvel is willing to do is they're not willing to let characters die. They're not willing to truly end the story. I actually love the Flash, and then they found like a story trope that worked. And they just like walked up to it and just kept double tapping it in the same spot, and just over and over again. And same thing with the Arrow, right? The Arrow, I like the Arrow when it first came out, but same thing. If they seem to find an arc, he's got to be dark. He's got to continue to lose. Double tapping it over. And so even when I came to Black Lightning, I was like, okay, maybe a chance. But they fell into the same trap too. So I actually don't think that the CW is the arc to take, even though they have great story moments, which leads me to the movies, which I'm actually going to say I like Zack Snyder. I think his Superman is to me one of the better. And I actually, let me speak my truth. I actually like Zack Snyder's Superman as one of the best superhero movies. I think I got a grounded Superman that did things that were Superman-like. Because other times you don't get to see Superman like he's supposed to be godlike, and I need you to seem godlike. I need you to like shatter buildings, destroy worlds, and even that last scene where people argued a lot. I said, if you consider what a Boy Scout is, because he doesn't kill, but what happens if he has to, what happens if you have to make a choice between someone dying and killing? Mm-hmm. I think he would choose to kill in order to prevent dying. I guess the ultimate challenge as a hero. So I think Zack Snyder put DC on the track of, if we're going to be dark, hey, let's be dark. Mm-hmm. But then they weren't sure. Like, to your point, they pushed the boundaries. They like, does Batman kill? Does Batman not kill? Right? Does Superman And we all know BVS's error is just this idea of how can these two men go at each other's throats?
BVS was a very dark point. That was a very dark point in my life. BVS made it.
I didn't even see it in theaters, and I bought the DVD as like a true comic fan. And I was so mad because it's money that I will never get back.
You're better than me. I was. I've never been emotionally frustrated at a movie. I've been emotional at a movie. I was emotional during Infinity War. I cried during Infinity War because I was like, Marvel, you did it. And you didn't like the snap and everything happening afterwards. And then Thanos sitting down, looking out, just smiling. I was like, I remember reading that in the comics, dropping the comic book it's over, and have to wait until the next issue to find out whether or not the heroes came back. That's the emotion that I want from a comic book movie. BVS brought out a different type of rage. It was the type of rage like, yo, if you standing on your square, you saying that BVS was hot, yo, we gonna talk about it. And if I need to, I'm ripping your head off, yo, because you don't need to live with. I was in a dark place, yo. I was in a dark place.
It had so much potential. I think we lose sight of. I will give Ben Affleck credit. I think he was done an injustice. Drunk that he is, I actually liked his portrayal of Batman.
Okay,
I did.
Okay.
Now, granted, he went through the direction of writers and directors, but his portrayal, like his physical presence, how he was in certain scenes, I liked it. But he suffered from a bad script and a terrible plot set up. And then they gave us this half Wendon, half Snyder JLA.
Yeah.
I threw my hands up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies that don't make sense, New Mutants, that also came out in 2020.
Did not see it.
Has anybody watched that?
I didn't.
Couldn't do it. What's the point, right? You don't even exist anymore. Like, what is a literal point? Fox wasn't even going to be a thing anymore. So there's no point.
Exactly.
I'll catch it on TV.
Where do you go? That's a legend. That's a not legend. Legion. That's a Legion. That's a FX. That's that movie. That's your timeline. Like, I didn't see the purpose of it. I really didn't. So
I think Legend saw it.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on one accord. None of us seen it. You're all good with this. I just want to make sure.
Okay. So let's get out of 2020. 2020 came and went, and now it seems like you know what, we real quick, because I will be doing a disservice and trying to stay neutral as best as I can. I believe Birds of Prey came out 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Birds of Prey. Am I right?
Yeah, February.
So you just wanted to mention it so we can continue to move on where we're going, because it's
we're going to move on. I just want to throw it out there that Birds of Prey did come out.
We mentioned it.
It you know what? It's weird. Not weird, but it seemed like 2020 was the year of the woman. If you think about it, like if Black Widow came out, it would have been an all-female, with the exception of all female superhero wave.
If you consider the leader of the New Mutants is actually a woman, so I mean, granted, Sunspot, Cable, but it's really Danny Moonstar that would be technically like the leader of the New Mutants. So
so 2020 should have been
comic book knowledge, not movie knowledge. Just for any disclaimers like this.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but we're in 2021 now, and it seems that it's still the era of the woman. And WandaVision. WandaVision.
Tastes so good.
WandaVision is probably one of the best shows. Yes. Yes. One of the best shows right now. I would go as far as to say one of the best TV sitcom of comic origin I've seen in years.
Hold on, question. I got to challenge that. Are you using sitcom as the modifier? Because there's never been another sitcom, so I'll give it to you.
Okay.
But if you're saying TV Marvel-based show, I'd actually say I think Daredevil is the best one.
Okay. So like Netflix.
Daredevil.
Okay, yeah. That's a.
And so my quick argument for that, if sitcom is not the modifier, you're talking about straight up show, I think Daredevil gave you a grounded character, a good story, rooted in a villain that was a villain. Not a sometimesy villain, not like a talk about like I got a little scared, right? Like I was concerned for my life at some times. And then if you consider it's across its 3 seasons, it gave you a story across, right? They gave you some type of I didn't want it to end.
Hold on. You're counting season 2 and season 3 with that?
I actually liked Bullseye. I like that challenge. I mean, I was looking at the man and what they did to him and his growth, right? And the Daredevil's continual challenge of whether he is like any superhero. Is he Daredevil or is he Matt Murdock? So that's that. I will put my hat in the ring for Daredevil only.
Only.
But if you say sitcom, then it cannot be topped.
Okay. That's fair. That's a fair point.
WandaVision cannot be topped.
That's a fair point. I like Daredevil. I'll be honest. I saw the first 2 seasons, didn't catch third season. I love the grittiness. I love the whole story. Matt Murdock. Love the actor. I even loved where they started to integrate the Defenders, starting to put them in between each other's, movies. Yeah, you like that?
Danny was the weak point, and the second season of Luke
Yeah, Danny
is
was
something I want to burn the second season of Luke Cage out of my memory as a person of Caribbean American descent. Like, I want to burn it out of my memory.
Yeah, that was.
No, it was only
you didn't miss
only
anything.
one season.
You're good. Exactly, that's the truth. There is only one season of Luke Cage.
Oh man! All right, so that was a good. Those some strong points. Some strong points there. But we're talking. But let's get back to WandaVision, right? So first two episodes. People were hating.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've talked to some people and they're like, "Yo, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Why do they have a license to live? I don't understand."
Actually, I loved hearing that though. When people were saying, "Yo, I don't get it," I'm like, "Yes, keep watching. This is perfect." But yeah, I heard the same thing. People didn't understand the 2 episodes. I get it. Maybe they would have dropped the first 3 episodes. It would have been a little bit better because I think the 3rd episode kind of pull the shade back a little bit. So kind of help people realize, okay, something's going on with Wanda.
That's the thing about Marvel, though. Like Marvel, everything with Marvel is a slow build, brilliantly hinted Easter eggs that not only gets you intrigued and waiting for the next episode, but it gets you researching as a fan.
Yeah,
and that's one of the greatest tools that Marvel has always had. The first Iron Man came out. As soon as you saw Nick Fury, wait, what's Samuel L. Jackson doing? You got to do your research now. And it give you that time because the next movie is not for like another 6 months. So you got time to do your research, read up on some comics or whatever. So, when WandaVision first came out, when I first saw it and I saw what they were doing, I said, I'm sold. I'm here for it. And when you start seeing the progression of the different decades and, taking it back to like stuff I remember when I was a kid, and just the little hints of where they're taking it. If you know the House of M, that whole storyline is just like, yo.
I never waited.
Let's
a
go.
month was never so long than when the House of M was dropping live. And like, I'm talking about back in the day when I had my sleeves and my white backs and like was walking in the comic book store. Ooh, my bad. Keep going. Ooh, what about good memories? That and Civil War.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. It's like WandaVision they're taking it's fast because it's only like a 30-minute. They only give you 30 minutes?
Not even, man. It seems like not enough.
It feels like it's 5 minutes you're telling me a story because you're so invested in where they're going and in the way that they switch from Wanda's reality to our reality, even the subtleness of the screens just opening up.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yo, where are you taking me? Where are you taking me, son? Yo, that's the feeling I get every time I watch it, yo. I'm like, where am I going today? Or where am I going today?
So far there's been 7 episodes. Which one was your guys' favorite?
Oh, you can't do that, man. That's
a tough one. You know what? I can say it. Honestly, my favorite was episode 6. No. The end of episode 5 when Pietro showed up. That was my favorite.
Pietro?
Yeah. That was my favorite.
Okay.
Because when I saw him, first off, I've been talking about, I said, yo, this is how they're gonna bring the mutants in. It's gonna be, and I've been saying this since Age of Ultron. I said, listen, if you looking at this from a business perspective, you got 2 characters that belong in 2 universes, in X-Men and in the Avengers. If I was 2 companies and say, hey man, we own both of these characters, how are we gonna do this? All right, we're gonna stick with Scarlet Witch. You guys stick with Quicksilver. We'll introduce a Quicksilver but we're gonna kill him off the same movie. That way, you have him in your universe, and we have her in ours. And when I saw that from the beginning, I was like, yeah, at some point they gotta come together because they killed off one of them, and the other one's there. You really didn't see the Scarlet Witch from the X-Men universe. Only in I believe it was a deleted scene that you saw her, like not like her face. I think it was just her hair, the red hair, as Pedro's sister. But that was it. But you didn't see her interacting with them. And I think they did that purposely because they knew at some point Marvel was going to get back all their toys. They're like, all right, y'all was playing with our toys for about a good decade.
Mm-hmm.
You got stuff back because we're going to show you how to do it. You know? So when I saw him come to the door, I was just like, I just looked at it like, I don't need anything else in life anymore. I don't need anything else in life anymore. I mean, if this is what my comic book life is going to be, just Marvel, I'm okay. I'm okay. You're getting all your toys back. And I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna say episode 2.
Okay.
So I'm a fan of. Yeah, I'm a fan of those old school movies. So I'm a fan of Bewitched, and I'm a fan of like I Dream of Jeannie and all these other stuff that I watched in black and white. And I forget the exact reference that they were pulling episode 2 from, but it was when they did I think it's a Leave It to Beaver type thing. Dang, I gotta remember the reference. But when they did the magic show, right? So everything is like you're still trying to figure it out, like what's happening.
Okay, yeah.
But then there are a few moments where you get to see and experience the world through Vision's eyes, and that's when I was like, y'all got me.
Yes.
Because it was just like it's just enough of a break to go, yo, what? No, everything's fine, but is it? And that's when I know I was hooked. Like that's when I know because in the first episode there were moments, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Until you got to the dinner scene. But in episode 2, there were a couple of moments of break, and you're just like,
yep, those little pockets.
There's a lot more here.
Yeah.
So I gotta say that was one of my favorite scenes, and favorite episodes, and that's hard because I also want to say the one with the twins, but if you have to hold me to a wall, I'm gonna say episode 2.
What about you, Legend?
Okay. Since I can't use all, episode 4 probably, because that's when you got to see the perspective from everybody else. That's when Jimmy Woo came. He did his little card trick, and that was probably one of it was so little, but that's
he's a great character.
I'm like,
great
yo,
character.
this nerd actually did it. Like,
Yeah.
like, I don't know about it.
Yo, that is attention to detail when it comes to all of your movies. Like for them to just that little thing, and you just say like, well, how did you go back to Ant-Man and the Wasp and why he was working on magic? It just shows you the progression of his character.
They know their fans.
I love that.
They know their fans.
Yes, they know their fans. Exactly, they know their fans. Like you've been paying attention. All right, we're just going to do this one thing, and that's it. That's dope. So
you talked about like that's your favorite moment. So let's go there, right? What was your favorite like moment? Right, like what was the if you can't pick an episode now, right? But what moment were you like, oh, you said yours was Pietro, right? Is that still the same Sam's Legend? Is it the magic trick still? You gonna switch it up?
No, my favorite moment is probably last episode when Monica turned into Spectrum or Phantom. I don't know who's she gonna be, but just her coming out doing the superhero landing and her eyes going.
When she was looking through the Matrix,
like
someone said, I was watching something and they said like, when her eyes opened up, it was like with Neo, when he saw the Matrix, he saw everything, the ones and the zeros, and like she's seeing she's seeing everything. I'm like, whoa. That you open.
I might be lying. Sorry. Hold on. I forgot about the Agatha's theme song. That thing was amazing too. I'm sorry. That's a bop. Now I've been singing that all weekend. So that one too. That's my second favorite moment probably.
I'm gonna give you. So it's when she gets the powers, but not that scene. I actually like when she's walking through the wall, because when you listen to everything, get this. I'm gonna drop my first little theory. All the things that people say to her, I think are gonna shape her power. Okay. And you saw her fragment. She was shifting into she had different fragments of selves.
Yes.
And she pulls back together.
Yes.
But there are words that being said. You are powerful. You are strong. You will see things. You will fly. And I think that's going to be used to shape her powers. So that scene when she's going through, and I'm like, yo, for all my sisters out there, I was like, let's go. Okay.
Yes.
Because it was nothing but will that
Yeah.
got her through that. And when she went on the other side, I was like, it's a wrap. Like really right now, if it's you talking about gender wars, women rock and women are the powerful characters, the most powerful characters in the MCU.
They're powerful characters right now. Absolutely.
They got three on their side. In fact, all we got is Thor.
Like what? Just to stick with Monica for a little bit. One of my second favorite scene was Monica when she came back after the blip. And you see her. You only saw that as a comedy in Spider-Man: Far From Home. It was showing the kids coming back and they were banned and they were playing basketball and all that stuff. That's where you saw them, coming back from the dust. But to see it in slow motion coming back together, and she's walking in this chaos in the hospital, and people are just coming back together just like that. I'm like, seeing that scene, I'm just like, okay, I know exactly where I am in the timeline because this is when the snap took place.
Yep.
With the Hulk.
Yep.
So the fight with Thor
is simultaneously
happening at that same moment. It is just like, yo, it's oh my gosh, I felt like I was right there, like I was in it. That scene just got me. It got me so amped. I was
beautiful.
The entire episode, like, yo, I don't care what happens. I'm amped just for that one scene, yo. It was dope.
Number two. All right, we're talking about second favorite scenes. Then I might have to split the difference between Vision coming out the wall, because I thought that was wild, and then just a fun scene with Pietro. So the reason I like Vision coming out the wall is because I think it kind of solidifies and it like either solidifies a theory that she may hold or it gives you a whole bunch of new ones. Like you're just like, huh? So I loved it. Because I remember somebody said, I think a meme that was like, this is why he was worthy. Because what he was saying and talking about.
Yeah. The way that it was pulling him, and it was almost as if Wanda was stay with me. It was
See, I don't even think that's I don't think that's the cause. I don't think it has anything to do about her will to want him there.
Really?
I think for right now, he is bound to there. Like he literally can't live outside of that space.
Yeah.
Because of what her powers are. And I'm just gonna put my theory out early because we're talking about it. I actually think that Wanda is being used for this, but she is not the cause of this. And I take that, here's my reference, right? Doing my research, my bibliography, right? Put my sources in there.
Right.
I watched Doctor Strange over again. And there's a line that the Ancient One says that you cannot manipulate time. Oh no, I think it was Dormammu says it. You cannot manipulate time because what are you going to do? You may leave pockets of realities and dimensions open. What did they do in Endgame but mess with time?
Yeah.
And not just them, Thanos came back and did something too. So what if something was left open, saw a powerful person like Wanda and was like, I got you. Come here.
Okay.
Let me use you to do this.
So before we continue,
who's this powerful person?
10 minutes. We got like 10 minutes left in this podcast, right? Because we're rocking for an hour. Rocking for an hour. So this time frame, I just want to do nothing but what ifs, nothing but theories, and we can end it with WandaVision because that's what's popping. That's what's popping right now.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm pretty much on his thinking because you got to think about this. The Infinity Stones is like the much power of a big bang, whatever. And in the last 5 years, they've been used 4 times altogether. So that much power going through the universe. So you should expect some like dimensions or pocket dimensions to be open and things that manner. And I really do believe that Mephisto is probably gonna be shown here because he's such a big character. I don't think you could do it on the TV show. I think it's gonna come in the movies in Doctor Strange too. Probably that's probably when we're gonna first see him. Probably gonna get a little more glimpse of him here. Maybe, hopefully. But one of the things that Mephisto do is he makes a deal with you for more souls. And after you make the deal, you forget what the actual deal was. You just know that, so, I got what I wanted, but you don't know how I got it. You don't know how it began. And that's the whole thing Wanda's been doing the past 7 episodes. Like, I don't know how this started. I just know Vision is back. I have to keep him here for some reason.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Mephisto comes into play.
Okay.
So who do you think is Mephisto? Because Johnny Blaze, he met Mephisto.
Wait, you talking about the Johnny Blaze Hulu show or Johnny Blaze like Shield?
No. Well, because I'm looking at it like if Marvel is pulling in all of their stuff from way back when, who to tell that the same Mephisto that talked to Johnny Blaze, Nicolas Cage's character, it's not the same one.
Nah, they would do us a favor by not bringing that back and letting me forget about that movie.
I do not want to see Johnny Cage in the MCU. Don't put his name anywhere. Not Johnny Cage, sorry, Nicolas Cage in the MCU. I don't want to see him in the MCU at all.
I think they moved on from that character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I can see them bringing that type of character back.
I'm gonna build on Legend, right? So what if Sam's, I know you got your theory about mutants, but what if mutants exist in a separate dimension, right? Because again, I keep holding on to that Doctor Strange. He's the pivotal part of this, right? Because they said his movie's gonna tie into the Spider-Man movie, etc. So what if, there are multiple dimensions which we already know about, and in one of them is another Earth where most people have abilities, most people have gifts. And we get some type of crisis on 2 Earths type thing. That's a DC language, but we get like some kind of dimension crashing. And so now we get some people from that Earth, some people from this Earth, all because of what happens and what was Genesis in WandaVision. So what if that's how we get mutants and all these different crises and issues because of that? And really, I build on because I think Mephisto's still behind it. But when you have to kind of stitch up all the wounds, some things will bleed out.
I'm not against that theory. I mean, at this point, man, it's like, and this is the fun with these comic book movies and shows. It's like you're sitting there, you're thinking like, you're doing your life, but you're thinking like, man, how are they going to do this? How are they going to bring this to be? And that's the big thing that we're thinking about right now. Like, how are you going to make the X-Men? How are you going to get mutants involved in the MCU? They did it seamlessly with Spider-Man, brilliantly, I would say. With Spider-Man, because they just threw him in, and it felt like he was part of the whole universe the entire time. So, how are they going to make this make sense? There's a lot of hurdles that they got to go through, and what you saying, Change. I can see that. I can see that.
It's either that or
that's.
Now go ahead, Legend. You good?
I was gonna say that's gonna be the hard part is bringing mutants into the fray, because so far what we've seen, either you got your powers from an Infinity Stone, or you're just smart and create your suit, or there's a scientist that made Captain America, Black Panther. So it's all been science based, and we haven't really have any. Well, there was the whole thing. I don't want to say the name, but the Inhumans things that happen, but I think we can get rid of that now. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough bringing mutants in. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but
I actually think the heart-shaped herb is a natural approach to things, and I think they would look to bring back Inhumans. They just didn't have budget. I think the issue with anything outside of Marvel, except for Netflix, is budget.
Yeah.
That's all, right? It's not like some of the stories are terrible, but terrible because of budget. Like, you can't do what you can do in a WandaVision, even for 30 minutes. Because think of the effects when this shorty, right, was doing her one that, like, that's coins. So I think, but how do we get him in? I think that's the big issue. I also feel like it's possible that there's a Jean Grey or Professor X combined thing, and we may get this idea of like they've been among us the whole time.
Yeah. Because I like how they did that. And one of the great things I love about Endgame is that they answered those questions that you didn't ask, but you wondered. So when Doctor Strange came about and we seen the Ancient One, well, you in New York, what were you doing? And they showed it. So what was she doing the whole time? She was blasting all those extra aliens that we didn't see. She was doing a thing. So you can kind of gather that, all right, maybe these characters do exist, but the focus was here on the Avengers, that we didn't even focus on any other people who have abilities who decided to come out because of the Avengers.
I'm sorry, I forgot this. This is my big what if. So we all got disappointed by episode 7 because we thought the aerospace engineer was going to be blah, 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 right?
Right.
But let's think back to when Monica Rambeau first came back and we saw the flashback and she was walking through a hangar full of rockets and spaceships and talked about how she was out of space. What if the 4 are actually sword agents that are still away? That's my what if.
Agreed.
Why show that scene, right? And they switched it. The only place that's out of space, and Marvel's all about giving us solid groundwork to bring things back in. And so I think it's a way. We all know their history. That's the other thing I love about Marvel. They don't try to give us a whole bunch of exposition. Like they really take advantage of the fact that your characters.
Yep.
And so once we see them, if they have abilities, we'll know how, we'll know whatever, because they'll be like, we were on a sword mission. Boom, here we are.
That's it.
That's my big one.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. For them to be, they're out there, and let's say they're out there the whole time, all during the Infinity War, during the snap, during the second snap, during the third snap, they're out there taking in all of this radiation.
Oh, my brain just got an idea because Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau is going to be in it. You can lay the groundwork for introduction of them, even with Monica, and in Captain Marvel too, because she's also been in the stars. Remember, they've been mentioning Captain Marvel and Monica a lot, and we know she came back after the blip, and she knows a little kid. What if in some of the space missions that Monica was on, you heard whispers of a Captain Marvel?
See, and on that note, we're gonna leave that right there for y'all. Wow. My nerd brain is overloading right now. I can't even call it a nerd brain. Like this is culture now. Like this is.
Thank you very much. We have integrated.
Listen, man. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you two gentlemen for joining tonight. I'm hoping to do this as much as we can. I want to definitely bring you guys back so we could talk some more, comic book stuff. Maybe talk strictly movies, strictly shows. What we hate, what we like. Whatever the case is, wherever we go. I love the dialogue. I love the chat. I just want to thank everybody for joining. We are streaming here on Facebook Live, on IG Live, and of course on YouTube as well. We just want to give you guys thoughts and think about, where's this comic book stuff going? So real quick, color is everything. Can you tell us where people can find you on social media or whatnot?
Hey, on social media, I think it's IG Color by Style on IG. Facebook, I'm actually a part of a group called Flow. It's really about young adults getting together and trying to do life. So I'm everywhere in the sense of where my interests are, comic books and spirituality and just painting and stuff. So yeah, Color by Style on IG, man. Follow me. Let's do this.
Go. Nine Legend. Watch you, bro.
I Am Legend on IG. Hit me up.
All right. That's what's up. All right, you fellas, stick around for a little bit. We're gonna sign off on everywhere else. Thank you for joining. Just stay tuned for the next episode. All right, take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Flat at.
There we go.
Yeah, you gotta send me these links, man. I'll definitely promote this. Get people there.
Definitely. Gonna end